Hey guys, it's Joe Raiti from Raity's Rides, and I have one hell of a special treat for you guys. I'm kneeling here in front of this Ford GT. This is the new 2018 Ford GT. If you remember and look at one of my old videos down in the quickie review section, I did a review of a 2005, 2006 Ford GT. That was when Ford created the Ford GT to honor the old GT40s that raced back in the 1960s at Le Mans, at Sebring, Daytona, so on and so forth. This all-new Ford GT is really revolutionary compared to that one back in 2005 and 2006. No longer does it have a supercharged V8. I know some of you are upset about that. This actually has a twin turbocharged V6 putting out 600 horsepower. Yes, you heard that right, over 600 horsepower. As you can see, finished in this beautiful white. I'm not really the biggest fan of white, but it really shows the lines of the car perfectly. As you can see, we have these wonderfully designed wheels specific to the GT. It's got carbon fiber ceramic brakes. You're seeing a lot of that on Lamborghinis, on Ferraris, on all high-end exotic sports cars. That's almost like a necessity. That's going to give you that ultimate stopping power. One thing that I really love about the side of the car is I love the way it screams 21st century, but when you see it, you know that it has that Ford GT40 and Ford GT heritage built right into it. If you look with the styling with the lower sills, I really like the mirrors. I'm going to go ahead and take you around to the side here and show you the different functions that they've actually built into the bodywork of the car. Let's go check it out. All right, guys, so here's a little bit more side profile of the car. One thing I want to point out to you is that obviously this car is a mid-engine car. The radiators are actually mounted right here in the side. That's going to allow that aerodynamics to direct the air and cool that V6 twin turbocharged engine. Another thing I want to show you is watch this. Here's my hand. Yes, what Ford did was the reason why my hand is disappearing is that there are these flying buttresses on each side that Ford built into the car for aerodynamics. So not only are you going to get that air to the radiators, but it's also going to be directed back and over the rear end of the car. I really like the lower sill. As you can see, they really paid attention to detail with this car. Let me go ahead and show you the back because I think you're going to see a lot of nice styling features that I really like at the rear of the car. All right, guys, here we are at the rear end of the car. I really love the front end and the rear end of this car. The reason why is that Ford did some 21st century styling, but if you look, it has your traditional twin exhaust outlets. I promise you, if you go and research a GT40 from the 60s, those rear outlets are there. They're just a little bit lower. Another thing that I love that Ford did is this rear diffuser. These are things, it's all about aerodynamics. It's not about putting a big, huge wing on top. It's about directing air underneath the car. Another thing that you may not know about this car is once you get up to speed, this actually will turn into a rear spoiler. Another thing that I like that Ford did is when you're hard on the brakes, it then flips up to help slow you down, almost just like an airplane. So you can see how Ford really did their homework, and I'm telling you, the sound of this V6 twin turbocharge out on the racetrack is like no other. And I promise you, if you love the 2005, 2006 Ford GT or the GT40 of the 1960s, even though it doesn't have the V8, you're still going to be proud to see what Ford is putting out on the track. Because this thing, I'm telling you, going up against the factory back Corvettes, Porsches, the new BMW M8, it's really doing its job out there on the track. Let's go ahead and check out the front of it. Let's check it out. All right, so as you can see, guys, this is what I was telling you about. They built this flying buttress into the body style to get the airflow around the car, but also to feed air to these rear radiators. Obviously, this being a mid-engine car, producing a lot of heat behind the cockpit here. I really like the lower sills. These doors are not your traditional doors. They're not just going to swing open. They actually open up like that. They did that for a reason. This car is actually being raced by the factory Ford team. There's two-car team. They raced at Le Mans. They won Le Mans last year. The door actually opens upward. That allows the drivers to be able to switch and change very easily without the door getting away. It's things like this that makes this car a top performer. And I'm telling you, this weekend is going to be a great battle between the Corvettes and the Ford GT40s and the Ford GT. So let's go ahead and check out the front. All right, guys, we're at my favorite part of this car. I love what the engineers did. They didn't have it easy. They had to make it look like a Ford GT, but give it that 21st styling. I really love the style of the headlights. As you can see, they have these really cool LED encapsulated in these nice covers to really give it perfect aerodynamics. I really love what they did with the front of the car. I'm telling you, if you park this next to a Ford GT from 2005, 2006, or an old GT40, you'll see the styling lines there. I personally would have this car in Kona blue with white racing stripes. That is what really screams 1960s GT40s. But you know what? Like I said, with this white color, it really allows you to see the lines of the car. I really like what they did here with these heat extractors on the hood. All these things are functional. Another thing you got to remember is you had to apply to buy this car. You couldn't just walk into a Ford dealership. If you have won the lottery recently, you can't just walk into a Ford dealership and just get one of these. You actually had to apply, and there were a lot of people that were upset. They got turned down. Another thing about this car that you may not know is John Cena, the old wrestler, Ford is actually going after him and suing him. He bought one of these GT40s, and part of the contract is you had to hold on to it for 2 years. Guess what? He already sold it. So now Ford is saying that's a violation of the contract, and we're going after you legally. So you can see there's a lot of excitement for the car, a lot of excitement on the track, and also behind the scenes with this whole, application process and holding on to the car because they don't want people to just buy it, flip it, and make a bunch of money off of it like that. I'm just really glad that I was able to come across this and bring it to you guys. If you have not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching. I have tons of action from the Rolex 24 this weekend. And like always, I'll see you guys on the next ride.